The Chicago Bears just turned Soldier Field into a frozen nightmare no NFL team saw coming. On a Sunday where the wind chill bit deep and the snow never stopped falling, Chicago didn't just win. They rewrote the entire script for how a young team dominates in December. Nobody expected this version of the Bears so soon. Not with a second-year quarterback. Not with rookie playmakers stepping into starring roles under blizzard conditions. Not when the entire league assumed they were still building towards something bigger. But the scoreboard flashed a truth that left coaches across the league scrambling. A 10-win team playing like a championship force, and it felt terrifyingly easy. This wasn't a fluke victory against a struggling opponent. It was a statement carved into the icy turf of Chicago, a warning shot fired directly at Green Bay and Detroit. While other contenders shivered through losses that weekend, the Bears stayed locked in their own brutal rhythm. The defense suffocated every breath of life from a playoff hopeful offense. The special teams turned snow flurries into weapons, flipping field position like a chess master controlling the board. And through it all, Caleb Williams stood calm in the chaos, his eyes locked on a future nobody outside Chicago believed was possible this fast. Suddenly, the NFC North race isn't about catching Detroit or chasing Green Bay. It's about catching Chicago. What makes this moment truly dangerous isn't just the final score or the playoff implications. It's the realization that the Bears aren't relying on one superstar or one lucky break. They've built something deeper, a machine where every piece feeds the next, from the offensive line's physicality to the defense's hungry rotations. And at the center of it all stands a quarterback who finally has the keys to a system designed to break NFL defenses before the snap even happens. Ben Johnson didn't just draw up plays last Sunday. He built Caleb Williams a cheat code against the entire league. Next, we pull back the curtain on how Chicago's offense turned simple formations into nightmares, and why no defense has solved it yet. But before we jump into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Bears and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. Most quarterbacks crumble when the snow flies and the crowd screams. But Caleb Williams isn't most quarterbacks. On that frozen Soldier Field afternoon, he didn't just survive the chaos, he weaponized it. While other young signal callers flinch at pressure, Williams stood tall in the pocket as Myles Garrett crashed toward him, calmly sliding his feet to reset and fire a laser to DJ Moore on third down. His stat line reads, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the real story lives in the throws you never saw. The smart throwaways into snowbanks, the pocket escapes that avoided sacks without forcing risky passes. This wasn't just confidence, it was command. What changed everything for Williams wasn't his arm, it was the system around him. Head coach Ben Johnson built an offense that gives Caleb crystal clear answers before the snap even happens. Motion from Luther Burden forces defenses to reveal their coverage. Heavy sets with 2 tight ends make linebackers freeze, guessing wrong while DeAndre Swift slices through gaps. For the first time all season, Williams saw defenders move exactly where his playbook predicted. That trust transformed him from a highlight reel talent into a cold-blooded field general. And it's why he's thriving while other second-year quarterbacks still search for rhythm. The true danger here is how much room he still has to grow. Williams missed open targets to Colston Loveland and Kyle Monangai that'll haunt him on film review. But even those mistakes happened within a system that protects him. When he's healthy, Rome Odunze adds another dimension Williams hasn't fully unlocked yet. Imagine this same offense clicking with a deep threat stretching defenses while Swift pounds the snow. That version of Caleb Williams isn't coming, it's already here. And it all starts with how Chicago's offense turns simple plays into illusions that break NFL defenses. Next, we expose the magic behind those illusions. Watch what happens when the Bears line up with 2 tight ends and DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Defenses see it and immediately overcommit to stop the run. But last Sunday at Soldier Field, Chicago's offense didn't just run the ball. They made defenders chase shadows. On one pivotal touchdown, the entire Browns front flowed right as the offensive line stepped that direction. Tight ends released like lead blockers. Linebackers crashed downhill. Then Caleb Williams spun and handed off to Swift, cutting left into a canyon of empty space. The defense wasn't beaten by speed or power. They were beaten by a lie. This deception isn't accidental. it's engineered. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson uses motion like a hypnotist. When Luther Burden shifts across the formation, safeties panic and reveal man coverage. The Bears ran the exact same heavy formation 12 times against Cleveland, yet the ball went left, right, deep, and short with no predictable pattern. Even when Snow made footing treacherous, DJ Moore and Colston Loveland turned tight windows into touchdowns because defenders were always a half step late. Chicago isn't just executing plays. They're forcing NFL veterans to solve riddles mid-snap. The most terrifying part? This offense thrives when games get ugly. Snow, wind, or rain, the Bears lean into chaos while opponents shrink from it. Long drives that chew clock aren't just about scoring points. They're about draining opponents' will and legs. And when Chicago's offense controls the ball for nearly 40 minutes in sub-zero wind chills, it does something else no one talks about. It gifts their defense a secret weapon. Fresh legs flying downhill in the fourth quarter. No team in the NFL is built for this reality quite like Chicago. Next, we reveal how that defense turns exhaustion into turnovers. The snow kept falling at Soldier Field, but Chicago's defense moved like it was playing on a spring day. While Cleveland's offense trudged through 3 and outs, Montez Sweat and Austin Booker became ghosts in the Browns' backfield. They didn't just pressure Shawty Sanders, they rewired his instincts. Every snap, Sanders flinched at shadows that weren't there, holding the ball just long enough for DeMarco Jackson to tip a pass into his own hands. 3 takeaways, 5 sacks. But the real damage happened earlier, on first and second down, when Chicago's front 7 buried Cleveland in impossible down and distance situations before the snow even had time to stick to their helmets. This wasn't brute force. It was chess played at full speed. Watch how Jer'Jon Newton occupied 2 blockers on that critical third quarter stop, freeing Sweat to loop untouched around the edge. Or how Jalen Johnson mirrored Jerry Jeudy's route step for step before snatching the ball at the catch point. Even C.J. Gardner-Johnson, patrolling the deep third, played quarterback on 1 interception, tracking a wobbling throw like a wide receiver and hauling it in over his shoulder. These weren't lucky breaks. They were calculated traps sprung by a unit that knew exactly where Cleveland's offense would break first. Here's what nobody noticed while staring at the scoreboard. Chicago's defense stayed fresh because the offense owned the clock. 40 minutes of possession in freezing weather means defenders aren't gasping by the fourth quarter. It means Dennis Allen can dial up creative pressures without fear of fatigue. And when your defense breathes easy while opponents drown in snow and fatigue, that's when games end 31-3. But this advantage only works if someone sets the stage before the defense ever takes the field. Next, we uncover the silent unit swinging field position and turning Soldier Field into a frozen fortress. Soldier Field in December isn't just a stadium, it's a weapon. And last Sunday, Chicago's special teams turned that weapon against Cleveland with surgical precision. While flakes swirled under the lights, Devin Duvernay didn't just return kicks, he stole territory. One burst through the snow sent him past the 40-yard line before Caleb Williams even laced his cleats. That's not field position. That's a free first down in weather where every inch feels like a war. Opponents don't just face Chicago's offense. They face a blizzard-aided ambush before the real battle even begins. The magic lives in the details nobody watches. Torrey Taylor, a rookie punter, dropped one boot so perfectly inside the 5-yard line that Cleveland's returner wisely stayed put. Josh Blackwell, another rookie, showed ice in his veins when he reached for a punt near the end zone, but pulled his hand back at the last second. A heads-up play that saved Chicago 20 yards of field position. Even when veteran kicker Cairo Santos pushed a 35-yard try off the upright, the wind howling like a warning, it wasn't panic. It was a reminder. In these conditions, every specialist battles the elements as much as the opponent. These inches don't show up on highlight reels, but they decide December football. This unit's real power? It erases margins for error. Short fields let Williams operate with breathing room in the snow, pinning opponents' deep forces, quarterbacks like Shawty Sanders into desperate throws against a hungry defense. And when the temperature drops and the stakes rise, these plays compound like interest. Against a division rival next week, one block kick or one muffed return could freeze Green Bay's playoff hopes in their tracks. But Chicago's ability to win these hidden battles only matters if the next men up can answer the call. Next, we reveal how rookie after rookie has turned adversity into Chicago's secret advantage. Injuries hit Chicago like a December blizzard, Rome Odunze nursing a foot, Luther Burden limping off with an ankle scare, veteran corners landing on injured reserve. Most young teams would crumble, but the Bears didn't. They turned to names barely known outside Chicago. Rookie tight end Colston Loveland hauling in third down conversions through contact. Rookie linebacker DeMarco Jackson flying sideline to sideline like a 6-year vet. And rookie cornerback Nahshon Wright reading routes so cleanly he nearly jumped a pass for a pick six. These weren't emergency fill-ins. They were difference makers thriving when the lights burned brightest under Soldier Field snow. While rivals like San Francisco lost Fred Warner and Dallas watched Micah Parsons go down, Chicago's rookie class didn't just survive adversity, they accelerated through it. Loveland's sure hands gave Caleb Williams a safety valve when defenses keyed on DJ Moore. Jackson's instincts plugged gaps so Montez Sweat could hunt quarterbacks without cleanup duty. Even Kyle Monangai, a rookie running back, brought punishing physicality that wore down Cleveland's front in the fourth quarter. This wasn't luck. It was roster depth transforming from theory to truth overnight. A testament to Chicago's draft strategy and a second-year quarterback who trusts young talent in playoff-type conditions. The scariest part? This group is still finding its rhythm. Luther Burden's ankle scare sidelined him briefly, but his ability to turn short throws into explosive gains remains a cheat code. And when Rome Odunze returns fully healthy, defenses already drowning against Moore and Burden will face a deep threat who stretches fields like few rookie receivers can. Imagine this offense. Clicking on all cylinders against a division rival fighting for its season. Green Bay's defense just faced Detroit's wounded attack. Next Sunday, they meet a Chicago machine with no weak links, and a secret weapon lurking in the shadows. Next, we expose why Soldier Field in January might be the NFL's most dangerous playoff venue. Soldier Field under December lights isn't just a football field, it's a time machine. For decades, Green Bay owned this moment. But next Sunday, the Packers fly into Chicago not as hunters but as prey. A win locks the division for the Bears. It transforms them from surprise contenders into true gatekeepers of the NFC. Think about that. A team written off in August now holding home field advantage in January weather they've mastered. Jordan Love hasn't faced a defense that hits like Montez Sweat and DeMarco Jackson with snow crunching underfoot. He hasn't seen coverage that erases receivers like Jalen Johnson and CJ Gardner-Johnson while his offensive line shivers from the cold. This isn't just another rivalry game. It's a passing of the torch in real time. Chicago's advantage isn't just physical, it's psychological. The Packers thrive in clean, crisp conditions where Love's arm stretches defenses. But Soldier Field's frozen turf shrinks the field, neutralizing speed and forcing Green Bay to play Chicago's brutal style of football. DeAndre Swift feasts on defenses soft against the run, and Green Bay ranks near the bottom of the league in yards per carry allowed this season. When the temperature drops below 20 degrees, Caleb Williams' command of Ben Johnson's run-pass options becomes unstoppable, forcing linebackers to choose between DJ Moore's deep threat or Colston Loveland's seam presence. Even rookie weapons like Luther Burden thrive in chaos, turning short throws into broken tackles while Packers defenders slip on icy grass. What keeps NFL coaches awake isn't just Chicago beating Green Bay, it's what happens after. A division title gives the Bears home games through January, where their formula becomes unbeatable. Control the clock, let the defense feast on tired offenses, and trust a second-year quarterback who only sharpens when the stakes freeze over. No team in the conference has solved this puzzle yet. Not Detroit's high-flying attack, not San Francisco's veteran savvy, and certainly not a Packers squad built for September sunshine. But this Chicago surge reveals a deeper truth the entire league must confront. Next, we expose why defensive coordinators are rewriting their entire playbooks after watching these Bears, and why it might already be too late. The league spent years waiting for Chicago to find its quarterback. But what just happened at Soldier Field wasn't about one player. It was about an entire philosophy terrifying every GM from Dallas to New England. While other franchises chase veteran superstars or scheme-dependent systems, the Bears built something sustainable, a physical identity that thrives when winter bites, powered by a rookie-heavy roster that doesn't shrink from pressure. Teams like Philadelphia and San Francisco watched film last week and saw a nightmare. Chicago's offense doesn't need perfect weather or perfect health. It needs snow, clock control, and a defense that turns fatigue into takeaways. That formula doesn't fade in January. It grows stronger. This Bears team isn't reviving old ghosts. They're creating a new monster. For years, Chicago chased offensive fireworks while ignoring the trenches. Now they dominate with downhill runs from DeAndre Swift, surgical play action from Caleb Williams, and a front seven that hits quarterbacks like Montez Sweat and DeMarco Jackson even when snow coats their shoulder pads. Even rookie contributors like Colston Loveland and Nashawn Wright embody this identity. Tough, relentless, built for December football. The NFL feared a Chicago resurgence. They never feared this version, a team that wins ugly, embraces the cold, and makes elite offenses look ordinary by halftime. That's not hope. That's a warning. What Green Bay faces next Sunday isn't just a division rival. It's the future of cold weather football. If Chicago wins, they don't just claim the NFC North. They force the entire league to ask one uncomfortable question. Can anyone beat this formula when the calendar turns to January? Soldier Field becomes a fortress where speed fades, arm strength shrinks, and only the toughest systems survive. Jordan Love's Packers think they know this rivalry, but they've never seen Chicago like this, with DJ Moore stretching fields, Luther Burden creating chaos underneath, and a defense that smells blood in the snow. Next week's game won't just decide a division. It'll decide whether the NFL's oldest rivalry has a new king. We've already broken down every snap of this Bears blueprint. Hit subscribe and tap the bell, because our film room breakdown of Packers-Bears drops the moment the final whistle blows. This is Chicago's moment, and the league is finally listening.